The Pikachu! What? Zarude, get the heck out of here, dude! Hey, what's up everybody? It's Cozy here. I originally posted my part 2 video of this AGS review, but I have since unlisted it because it was too long and I didn't really like how it turned out. I sort of rushed through it and edited it a lot, but it still ended up being a pretty long video. So today we're going to talk about my experience that I had in that video. If you want to watch the full video, I've linked it in the description below, but you may want to watch it at like 2 times speed or something to get through it. Anyway, regarding AGS and my experience with their grading service, I have a couple of positives topped with some big negatives. Let's talk about the overall positives that I experienced. When I received the graded cards in the mail, I was happy with how well they were protected. They came heavily wrapped in bubble wrap, so I felt confident that the slabs were safe and intact. However, I did request for them to be shipped back in a special case, and that is not what I received. So we can add that to the list of negatives. After removing the slabs from the packaging, I was greeted with a stack of a very clean looking product. I inspected the graded cards one by one, taking note of how clear the slabs are and how sturdy they felt to the touch. I briefly tested the durability, and as can be seen in the video, there was little to no give when I attempted to stress the cases with my hands. So overall, I am very satisfied with the presentation of the cases. So as far as the slabs are concerned, I will give them a solid 10 out of 10. Now granted, this is just my opinion on a topic that is very subjective, but I stand by it because I genuinely do like the way that these slabs look. Now let's move on to something that is more based on facts than opinion. The grading. This is where things began falling apart for me. At first, on the surface, having scans of your cards seems very helpful when you have questions about the grades that you're receiving. However, after evaluating the format available on the website, sometimes I am only left with more questions than answers. Take the Charizard, for example. I was curious as to why this card got a 9.5. So I checked the subgrades, followed by the scans, and I thought that had cleared things up. But later on, after noticing that the Lycanroc GX had no visible corner or edge wear, but both of those subgrades had been knocked down a grade, I became very skeptical about the accuracy of the overall grading process, and it only got worse from there. I'm curious to look at the edges and the corners. Let's see if it shows me anything. Doesn't really look like it. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling about this, guys. I'm a little upset with the scans. They just don't really tell you much. I've seen people grade with tag, and it looks like tag really gives you a really in-depth scan of the cards so that you can see a lot of imperfections and flaws and stuff. But here, it's not even giving me any indication of where it's found damage on the corners or where it found damage on the edges. I know if I look at this card on the back, this card looks fine. No, I don't know, guys. This review's starting to devolve, I think, a little bit. I was pretty okay with a lot of this, but now looking into all these grade breakdowns, I just don't really know. It's not very clear on here how my grades got what they got. Let's do one more. We're gonna go into the search and we're gonna punch that in for the Starmie. We're gonna go in here and take a look. And we got hit for the centering on both of the front and the back. And nothing on the surface, corner, or edges. You know, I think I have an idea. I've got something that might put this to rest. Let's take a look at the Glaceon, because this card on the back has quite a few issues. So let's see if it picked up on it. Let's go ahead and go into here. Yeah, okay, so I mean, I'm gonna say that this is a pretty much a tell-all here, because I know, looking at this card, that the edges on this card are not very good, and a lot of X and Y era cards are not good on the back. What is this? What is this? I don't understand what that is. I got nothing taken off for the edges on the back. I don't know what that means. Okay, guys, I'm starting to get a little upset by this. These scans are not good. I'm looking at this card right now. Matter of fact, let's go back to the camera, and we're gonna take a look at this card ourselves, and I will show you on this Glaceon that there are marks on the corners, and it does not show here at all. Okay, so here we are back at the desk here. This is the Glaceon EX, got a 9.5. Let's just go ahead and we're just gonna look right here at the bottom here. We're gonna see, I'm gonna zoom in on it right here. Look at that edge. Does that look clean? That edge is fine. Let's go ahead and go to this edge here. Look at that. Look at that edge there. Does that look clean? You see that crease? Okay, let's move down here. Look at that right there. It's kind of hard to see on screen. And also you can see here better on that edge that there's a nick. But look at where my thumb is. That is whitening there on the edge. So you mean to tell me that your guys' scans can't pick that up? I'm a little bit confused. Also, the corners, if you look at this edge, this corner here, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not rounded. It kind of got a little bit hacked off. So I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit, this review has kind of taken a turn. I'm gonna be honest. I like the slabs. They're very nice. They're very sturdy. I think they look nice. The presentation's really good, but I'm not gonna lie. That scan, whatever they're using, is pretty trash. I'm actually kind of upset now because it did not pick up on any of that. So, wow. I'll be honest, I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this. I honestly thought that this was going to go very well. And I was kind of like talking them up there for a little bit, but this isn't good. Has anybody else graded with AGS, and can you tell me, or do you have similar issues? Is this something that is just like a fluke? And why can't AGS show a little bit more about their scans in the imaging to kind of like point out flaws in the card? I don't see anything like that. There's no lines for the centering. There's nothing to even tell you what the ratio of the centering is. I think this is where this is all falling apart for me, is that just the idea conceptually, it sounds good and it can work to have a scan show you issues with your card, but if it's going to be just as I guess iffy as like a human graded card, people bring up PSA a lot. They say that, you know, they hand out 10s for certain eras of cards and all that stuff. How am I supposed to trust that this grade is good? I got clarification on the Charizard. The centering, yeah, but what if there's something on this card that we're also not picking up surface wise? So yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit torn now. I like the way they look. They'll be nice to display. But as far as the grading goes, I'm gonna have to give it like a D minus. As far as just how it determines to do the grade. I'm kind of perplexed right now. So as you can see, there is no way that the Glaceon EX would have ever received 10s for all of the subgrades other than the centering. It clearly has factory screwed edges, as a lot of XY era cards do, but it does not detect those inconsistencies accurately. And this is from a very small pool of graded cards. I only had 8 cards graded, so imagine grading 50 or 100 cards. How many of those cards would receive the wrong grade because of these highlighted issues? In conclusion, I would say do not grade with AGS if you are looking for accurate and consistent grading. Hopefully in the future AGS can figure this out, because I do like the slabs, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content and you want to join the Cozy family, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.